give my thank yous and my shout outs to everyone who will be tuning in tonight. This is our first show, and I would like to thank you all for channeling in with us, for being my company tonight. Thank you for just your listening ears on tonight. We have a special treat, and I'm excited to bring this special guest in. Let me also thank the network. Let me thank friends and family. Thank you all. Let me welcome y'all. Let's sit down at the table and let's talk tonight. Okay. I have a special guest by the name of. First of all, before I reveal her name, let me tell you a little history about her. Okay, she's a very special friend of mine. Her name is Minister Daphne Norman, or some may address her as Elder Norman. Some of you know her as Hey Girl, Home Girl, whatever you want to call her, D, or whatever. But anyway, her name is Daphne Norman, and she is a very, very, very talented, very smart, ambitious. There's so many accolades and so many stars I can put her up under. But anyway, I'm going to bring her in tonight, and I'm going to invite her in and let you all meet her. Hello, Daphne.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey, girl. Hey. So as you all can see, my beautiful friend, all flowers, we flock together, we bloom together. Hello. And so, anyway, Daphne is a real good friend of mine. And the reason why I wanted to bring her in tonight is because she is the very individual that walked with me on this particular journey to help individuals, to help, to render help and render aid to whomever need the assistance when it's needed. And so Daphne is a she's a psalmist. She's a she's an author. I Oh my God, she's an author. She is a preacher. She is a friend. She's not a mom. She's single. Boop. Okay. And she's also dear to me, and we graduated together from the same certified belief therapist Therapon Institute, and we go way back as far as seventh grade. And the girl can sing. Wow, she can sing. So anyway, she is the author of a new coming book. Let me show y'all what this is, and you can also see her background. But it's Help, I'm Broken. Okay, and I'm gonna let I'm gonna let her take the stand and just introduce herself in her own way, cause I've tried, but I really can't, cause I can say so much from a personal note, but I'm not. I'm gonna just let you do it on a more professional level, friend.
Um,
Daphne, how are you tonight?
I'm amazing. First of all, I don't think I really have anything left to say about myself because I think you said it
Okay.
literally all.
Yeah.
As Keitra said, we've been friends since seventh grade, doing singing and clowning and just being really, really good friends. As she mentioned, we did graduate from Therapeutic Institute. We are certified belief therapists, aka life coaches. For those of you who don't know what those are, certified Christian life coaches. And I don't really have much to say. I actually, I'm an accounting manager, accounts payable manager. It's my daytime job. And I don't know what else is there to say. She already told you I'm a preacher, I'm a singer. I'm just plain old me for the most part, honestly. To know me is to love me. I'm an extrovert to the T to by heart. So I love God. I love God's people, and I am here to, as Keisha said, I'm an advocate for helping people. I think one of the things that God has graced me to be is one who has developed a passion for people who really are broken and who really need help. A lot of times, what happens is we out here living life and just going about our life like everything is okay. And the truth is, everything's not okay. But
That's right.
we've masked it and we pretended and we've taking on this thing that people tell you have to take a lick and keep on ticking, but
Taking
nobody
them.
tells you how to deal with it in your private time. So we've learned how to master what a good life and happy life and all of that looks like in front of people, but nobody knows what's happening behind the scenes. People are breaking down. People are ready to commit suicide. People are, are truly broken. They're tired, and everybody's just saying, "Keep going. Oh, you can make it. You'll be okay." And the truth is, they're not okay. We're not okay. And honestly, it's okay not to be okay. You just got to let somebody know. And
That's
when
right.
you do, then that's when we step in. We step in to help you cope through those traumas, those trials, those things that have you in a place where you feel like you're not going to be okay, that you're coming unglued, you lashing out and all that good stuff. And
Yeah.
we're here to help you to walk through those places and
Yes.
understand that there is help available for you.
That's right. That is so true. You know, Daphne, I just listening to your brief bio there. Now listen. Now how are we holding hands down the path of life of what? Because both of us are accounts payable. We're in
Right.
accounts payable. We're in accounting, and we both have a CBT, which is the Certified Belief Therapist Certificate, or license or what have you. And we both are book writers. Well, she's already established her book, and I'm getting ready to finish my book, Help or Hush. Hello,
Okay.
while I heal. Okay. And I think that's we just gonna piggyback off of the I'm broken part. And
Hmm.
this was something that was not even intended. I did not know that she was writing this book. I didn't know the title of it. And while she's ahead of me writing and I'm writing, and it's amazing how you can meet someone in life to walk down the same path and you share the same vision just to help people.
Hmm.
And with all of the accolades that are given to us, we're still down to earth. We're
Yeah.
still cool with it, we're still funny with it and everything. But on the flip side, when those quiet moments and the crickets get to chirping,
Hmm.
and them thoughts coming, then we're here, as she said, to help.
You know
And
what's funny, Keitra, is we spent that was a gap in time for us where we hadn't talked to each other, we hadn't really communicated, but and that's the good thing about friendship,
yeah.
very many people, very few people have those types of friendships that when we
Hmm.
talk, it's almost like we never stop talking. And
Yeah.
so, ironically, we are in the same field. We are shared a lot of. We have a lot of similarities of things that we've experienced in life. Some that are untold, and so we have a lot of things that we've come through that we can share, and some of them I expose in my book, and I think it's necessary because of the type of people that I'll say this: everybody has an audience, right?
That's true.
Everybody has an audience,
Hmm.
and only God knows who He's placed in your audience.
That's
And
right.
so, because you have to be able to be all things to all people when it comes to the assignment that God has given you, you have to walk through these particular areas and things in your life. And so everybody's path is not the same, though they may be similar. So while we share the same, commonalities in thought and commonalities in what our books are about and commonalities what the direction that we desire to help people, there's
Hmm.
still a level of audience that is assigned to you that I'll never be able to reach.
That's
And
true.
there's still a level of audience that I have that you'll never be able to reach. And so I
Right.
want to say that because some people may think, well, there's no need to write my book. There's no need to, share my story because so and so's already done it, or there's enough people that may be talking about it, or there's enough. Everybody has an audience, but you have to know that there's a specific audience that's assigned to you. And so,
That's right.
because there's a specific audience that's assigned to you, there's somebody waiting to hear what you have to say.
That's
Not
right.
what I have to say, not what
That's
Keitra
right.
has to say, but there's somebody that is waiting for what you have to say. And those are the people that God is holding you accountable for. Because I've never dealt with smoking and drinking drugs and all of that. That was
You
not my.
haven't, Daphne?
I've no, I've only
Okay.
tried to, I've only tried to sell it. but we'll go down
Okay.
that road.
We gonna bleep that out.
We ain't gotta bleep it out. We gonna talk about
we,
that
we
and
go,
down. You know, I was only on the road to selling
okay.
drugs, and my parents owned a
Okay.
liquor store that sold alcohol. I never was a user because
Come
I
on
saw
here.
what it did with everybody else.
What it do to
So I
other
chose
people?
not to do it. However, there
Right.
are people who have experience being an alcoholic. There are people that who can experience being a drug addict that I'll never be
Uh-huh.
able to reach because I can't talk to those subjects. But I can talk to the abused.
Wow.
I can talk
That's
to the
right.
one, who's been broken, verbally or mentally or emotionally. I can talk to,
Hmm.
I can talk to a lot of different areas. So if you have
Hmm.
a story, share your story because you never know who's going to help, who you're going to help.
That's right. That is so true. And you know what? Since you're on the subject about people sharing their story, a lot of us, I think we're afraid of embarrassment. Nobody wants to be transparent. You understand what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
And nobody wants to put themselves out there. But I'm like, what a perfect time. Because
Hmm.
if you look at TV, if you listen to the radio, they say any and
Hmm.
everything. They
Hmm.
expose any and everything. So what would make your story so bad to where you can't share it and nobody will hear it?
And
That's
you
the
know
that's
what?
the question I want to pose to my audience. Hey y'all, hey, for those of y'all that are tuning in, this is Daphne Norman with Help I'm Broken, and we just posed a question. And are we really afraid? Are we really concerned about being transparent? Are you, Daphne?
I think initially I can say I honestly was because number one, I'm a private person, and I literally have a quote in my book that said I ain't want y'all in my business.
What page is that?
I have a quote in there that said that it was a struggle for me to write this because I didn't want y'all in my business. Like that
Yeah.
wasn't, and so it was one of those things where sometimes we are concerned. Number one, because of our statutes, some people, because of who we're connected to, because of who it may affect.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of reasons why we're afraid to be transparent, and then the whole I don't want nobody to judge me,
Right.
that all of that. But one of the things that I learned, and one thing that God had to share with me,
Mm-hmm.
Keitra, is that part of my healing process took place by me exposing myself to other people to let them know that
That
there is
part.
help available. So the Bible says that the lepers were healed as they went, and so
I'm
that was
word.
one of the things that God showed me concerning myself when I was writing this book. Because I was like, God, how do I write this book and I still feel broken in some areas? How do I write this book and still allow people to come into my world and not judge me? And I don't want to expose different parts about this, and I don't want to tell nobody that. And God had to let me know. But the people need to hear that because that's what people are dealing with. We try to
That's
hide the part that people need, and for the sake of wanting to be used by God, you got to be willing to make the sacrifices that's required to be used by Him. And so sometimes it means exposing certain parts of you so the other so let's talk about how a wound heals, right? So
right.
when a wound is open,
Uh
sometimes
huh.
the doctor will tell you don't cover it up because if you cover it up, it can cause infection, right? And
See?
so there are some wounds that require you to leave it open so that it can heal. I remember getting a scar on my leg when I was younger because somebody pushed me into a car, right?
Hmm.
And the
Wow.
when you're old school, your parents do them old school remedies, you know.
What they do,
they
Daphne? What they do,
they
Lord?
self medicate, putting some neosporin on it, put some
Right.
neosporin on it and then put you a band-aid on there. And we
Baby, you
did
can't
that.
forget the peroxide. You can't
Right.
forget
Yeah,
the
oh yeah,
peroxide.
peroxide. And we did all of that. Put that bandage on there and
Yeah.
my leg got infected.
Ooh.
And I had to go to the hospital and had to
Okay.
get some surgical stuff done on this
Yes, you did.
leg
Uh huh.
because we didn't treat it the right way, right? The
Whoa.
wound should have stayed open so that it can heal. What am I saying?
Oh.
Some things have to be exposed in order for
Come
you to heal.
on.
And
Yes.
so I'm saying to you, those of you who may be afraid to expose yourself, understand that sometimes, and then I'm not saying you got to pour out your tea. You ain't got to do that. I ain't be wise, okay?
Come on here. You can only drink so much hot tea.
Be right, be wise. I'm not
Uh-huh.
saying put all your business in the street, but there are certain parts that you can share, that you can be able to expose in a tasteful way, so that somebody can be helped. So that there are parts, so you can tell your story, your truth, without being ugly. You can tell
Right.
your, there are things that you can do. So there's a way to do it, but I think what has happened, and it's been tainted, and it's been misconstrued and messed up, because people be trying to clap back and did it, and it gets all wrong. And that's not the way to do it. But there's a
Mm-hmm.
way to share your truth, your story, to help somebody else make it through what you have possibly made it through, without being ugly, without being messy, all of that. And unfortunately, it's a stigma on women, since we're on the women around the table. So
Yeah.
it's a stigma against women, that they are all messy, and but that's not always the case. Some
No,
people are broken. Some people
that
are
is
hurt,
true. Some people
and
are
they are just
broken.
trying to
And
figure out how to tell somebody, how to help somebody, but sometimes they go about it the wrong way. But there is a way that
oh
you
yeah.
can do it to help
Uh-huh.
somebody else. And if people understood how powerful their stories are, then it wouldn't be so challenging,
Hmm.
to um to share, and share it in a way that it can help somebody.
Okay, well, for those of us that are tuned in and we're listening and we're hearing everything that you're saying, and you tell us to be discreet, kind of exposed, but you a lot of people would say not to give too much detail. And so when I was first telling my story, I was told not to give too much detail. But I'm one that I don't follow the rules, Daphne. I don't.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
know your girl, I tend not to follow the rules sometimes.
Mhm.
And I may give the details. Why? Because I think that in my opinion, I'm gonna be opposite on some stuff, that we pacify some things in our lives. We kind of cover up some things, and we try to pacify it even though it's there, but kind of shut it up just a little bit, just for the time being.
Mhm.
And I'm one of the one, I don't want to pacify nothing. This is what I experienced. This is what I went through. This is the ugly part of it. But because of who I am right now. You
Well,
understand what I'm
yeah,
saying?
and I agree, but there are certain things you can do that. There's nothing wrong with doing that,
So I'm
but
just
you
speaking
still.
for the people that feel like I do.
Well,
You know?
see, there's a way to do it though. It's not.
Okay,
I'm
so
not saying.
help me.
I'm saying you have to really be, because the what you don't want to do is, you
Okay.
don't want to be found guilty of bashing, and you don't want to be found guilty of putting somebody else down, because you
Okay.
telling your truth.
Because
And
we
and
here.
there's a way to tell your truth and tell the details, and
Come
still leave
on.
out details, but still be detailed.
Come on,
You see what I'm
Daphne.
saying? I do a
Yes.
very good job at it, because
Okay.
I talk about my divorce, and I
Do
say
you
some
now?
stuff that's
Uh-huh.
in my book that happened, that are real
Okay.
life things that have
And it's
happened,
your truth. And that's your
and it
truth.
and it and it was really detailed. And
Uh-huh.
only if you knew who my husband was, would you know what I was talking about. But
Well,
and that's a risk that I took, but it wasn't a slight against him, but it was
that's
because I
just your
wanted
truth.
people to understand what it. But I still, watch this. I still told my truth and still covered him,
Wow. That's good. So did y'all
because
hear that?
my objective is not to make him look bad. That my
Right.
truth has nothing to do with how
With
I
his
feel
reputation.
about him.
Uh-huh.
My truth has everything to do about what I was experiencing, as far as my pain and my
In that moment.
brokenness,
Mm-hmm.
and not because my I don't want the story to be about him. That's
Right,
not to
right.
me. He's a minor detail in the story. Why he contributed to some things that have happened, a lot of things that happened. I'm not gonna shine a light on him. We're
Uh-huh.
just talking about what the situation itself and how it made me feel.
Okay. Okay.
So I
Okay.
can go and say, if you married to John and John used to beat you up, right? And
Yeah, John did.
he drug you down the street and he told the neighbors that let the dog bite you, all of this stuff, right? So you can
Yeah.
there's a way to tell that same story to
Uh huh.
say, when I was
Huh.
married, I was drugged down the street. The person
Okay.
made the person who I was married to told the dog to
The
bite me.
person.
And I'll never say his
Okay.
name. I never said my
Okay.
ex-husband's name in my book. Never.
Good. Well,
There's
I
a
don't
way to
think we
say,
want to reveal names.
or even without, I experienced a lot of heartache. I experienced some abuse that nobody would ever thought I would go through. I was beat up.
Oh
I
my
was drugged. I
God.
was all this stuff. So there's a way to tell your story, and you can leave
Without.
everybody else out of it. Let me tell
Okay.
you, since
Okay.
we're talking about it, for those of you who choose to tell
Since
your
we talking
story,
about it.
don't get
Okay.
sued. Okay? Don't
Okay.
get don't get sued. Cause if you can get
Don't
sued
get sued.
playing around with some calling names,
Don't
but
get
that's not
sued.
what this about. But we're
Okay.
just saying there's a way to do that without drawing attention to the wrong things.
Okay. Uh
You
huh.
make your so one of the things they teach you in preaching as well as public speaking is keep the main thing the main thing.
Keep the main thing. The main thing. For those of you who got your pens and pads like I do, keep the main thing. The main thing. THANG.
Right.
Thing.
Keep the
With an
main thing the
exclamation
main
point.
thing. Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In essence,
Elaborate.
make sure that you stay on topic. Make sure you
Okay.
keep your point, whatever point you're trying to make, keep
Mm-hmm.
it on that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not venture off into something that's not relevant to what you're trying to do, the message that you're trying to get across. If we're going to
Okay.
talk about how to heal, let's talk
Uh-huh.
about how to heal.
How to
We're
heal.
not going to harp on what broke us.
Uh-huh.
We need to
Right.
figure out, because we know what broke us. We need to
That's
figure
right.
out how to heal from what broke us.
Okay.
So we're not gonna spend a lot of time on he did this and they did that and she did that and we did that and this is what's this, that, and the third. We
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm sorry that happened to you. But how do
Mm-hmm.
we move from there?
That's right. And that's the answers that I think that most people are looking for in this day and age. Because of course, we don't wear the sign. Like I said when I first came on introducing the show, we don't wear the signs on our heads that says, "Hey guys, I got beat up last night. Hey guys, I'm drinking and I'm going to drink this much drink. Once I leave you all after this drink." Or we don't have our brokenness on our heads. Is that an example of brokenness? While I'm on the subject, can you give us example of help? I'm broken, but what is the brokenness? What is an example of that? Or are
There
there
some
many examples?
there's a lot of different examples. Yes, there are people who are walking around in pain because of things that have happened in their past. There are things that people are still wrestling with that they grew up with, words that have turned into low self esteem. There are things that have happened in people's childhoods, neglect, rejection. That I can, the list just goes
Child
on.
abuse,
Child abuse, sexual abuse, trauma, disappointment, verbal abuse,
bullying.
bullying,
It's
mental
so many.
abuse.
Uh-huh.
There's a whole lot of different things that attribute to brokenness. Let me tell you. So I kind of talk a little about it in one of my chapters about identifying when you how do you identify you. So one of the examples that I use is I've recently become a sneakerhead, right? So I like tennis shoes recently, and you
Oh
know me,
yeah.
that wasn't a thing for me,
I
but
know what your thing, boo.
I
We're
done
gonna
got
talk about
into
that afterwards. So we got to
I done
turn me on. Uh-huh.
I
So
done
we're
got
gonna
into
keep
these
on.
Jordan ones,
Come
and they
on,
come.
Jordan.
The example that I used was all of a sudden we in a crowd and somebody accidentally steps on my foot. Brand new
Uh.
pair of Jordan 1. Somebody accidentally stepped. Now I'm ready to shoot up the place.
Come on, preacher. No, she didn't.
So tell me, something tells me that there's something on the inside of me that
See?
triggered that type of
A
response.
trigger. There it is. I was waiting on that one.
That triggered that type of response. They just stepped on your shoe.
Yep.
Why did you get that angry?
Over a
Anger
shoe.
is a sign of brokenness.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay,
Anger is
so
a
so
sign.
now you yelling at everybody and you ready to shoot up the place, but they didn't know the reason why you responded like that is because when you were younger, or that somebody had stepped on your shoe all of the time and took your
Wow.
shoes, or you didn't have nice shoes.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So there's so many
Yeah.
things that attribute to it. Okay, let's give us another example. All right.
Okay, let's see.
So
Okay.
you in a crowd,
Mm-hmm.
nice young man come past you with this cologne, and I mean you ready to pounce on every man that you see.
Come on, Burberry. Mm-hmm.
So you see,
We paint the picture.
why all of a sudden did it trigger such a sexual desire?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Because something happened that put you back in that
That
place,
sense. Mm-hmm.
and you never healed from that place. So now you got to try to figure out why suddenly you promiscuous.
So you telling me that a person can that brokenness can be activated by a smell?
Absolutely.
Something as
If you
simple
never
as a
dealt with
smell.
it, if you continue, so it's almost like the best way I can describe it, it's like putting dirt over something, right?
Here she go.
You just
Come on.
covering it up.
Mm-hmm.
You're burying it. You never actually dealt with it. You just
Come
put
on.
something on top of it. For a prime example, scars,
Mm-hmm.
right? You just cover them up.
Yep. Pause. I want you to pause. I just told my audience, if y'all remember, for those of us that tuned in, I just told my audience last week, a lot of times we bury stuff and we bury it from our childhood up until where we are currently.
Mm-hmm.
We bury things and they are not dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, my job, Daphne, your job in your own way, my job is to tell my audience, and I'm telling those new viewers again, we have buried so many things, y'all, in this dirt. They're not funeralized, they're still there. Because if you think about it, there are some things that are still living that's under the dirt that's alive.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's speaking about triggers. These things are buried and they're going to stay there until you do what? Until you funeralize this thing.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's going to remain. And how do you funeralize that? I'm going to let y'all in on a nugget. How do you funeralize it? It's really simple. It's really simple. Number one, you have to come into an acknowledgement that you buried it. Okay? That's just like you got to play out the whole funeral in your head. Nobody knows a person is dead until what? They announce it. Right? Agree? Okay, we agree. So once you announce that this has taken place, I'm whoever the person or whatever the thing is dead, is no longer living, is no longer in existence. Your mouth has so much power. Your mouth has so much power. And just bringing the knowledge, just to bring it forth. Okay, your example, like you were saying, these scars. Somebody scratched my face, and now I have to, I got to cover it up because I didn't let it heal properly, but it's still underneath there, right? And so there are things that can be applied, that can bring natural healing. That's still, and so it's still in the natural, in a natural aspect of where whatever the scar is, the child trauma, the neglect or the rejection, or the bullying, whatever it is that we've buried, and we just keep packing stuff on, and we never just announce the fact that this happened to me, that happened to me. You know what I'm saying? And
So
once you open your
before you
mouth and
can,
you say something, go
right.
ahead. I'm gonna let you
So before you can bury it, you first got to kill it.
come on. You gotta
Because
die.
so one of the things, so there's some steps that we need to understand, because a lot of the reason why people bury stuff unaware is because they're afraid to acknowledge that it actually happened. And sometimes people don't want to revisit that pain. They don't want to face the fact that it actually happened to them. So they, because you know what happens, Keitra, we've made a habit out of sight, out of mind, right?
Wow.
We made a
Wow.
habit of it. And when you make a habit of out of sight, out of mind, you learn how to do what I call live functionally broken.
Come on, coping. You
So
coping.
you learn how to live functionally broken. What is functionally broken? It's
What
like a
is?
person with a drug addiction,
Uh huh.
right?
Uh
They
huh.
know how to go to work. They know how to go to church. They know
Yeah.
how to function like everything is okay. But the
Mm-hmm.
minute they get $10,
Mm-hmm.
they smoke it up.
I wanna read see I wanna read this part in your book on page 17. I mean 16. You said we tend to think that because we don't feel, react, or behave a certain way at that time, that we're okay. That's exactly what you're saying now. And so, however, the moment we experience or encounter anything or anybody that is remotely close to what brought us pain, we're messed up. And that's how you know you are broken.
Yes.
Girl, we on it tonight. You just damaged. It says that how you know you are broken, just because you can't see the damage doesn't mean that the damage doesn't exist. Y'all, this book this book right here, if while we're talking, and I'm going to say it again at the end of the show, while you need to get this book for the readers, you get this book. And if you don't get this book, then at least you can have, and we were going to give the information at the end of the show, but and how we can contact you and get in contact with. But if there's anything that needs to be talked about, or if you don't want to reveal your voice, if you don't want to for her to see your face, help I'm broken, Daphne Norman. You can call her, you can email her, whichever avenue you decide, because I think we all need help. And
Absolutely.
once we get to a place of growth where we have healed in some areas, you guys, you got to share your story, because someone out here needs you. Somebody out here needs help. And I know the world is what it is. But if one person can help this person, and that's 1 plus 1 equals 2, at least that's not two people that are shadowed and broken anymore. There's freedom there. There's hope there. There's healing there, right? And so, especially when anything good happens to me, Daphne, whenever I'm healed, I want to tell the world about it. And I think that's how I got here in this chair. And that's how you're sitting in your chair. We want to tell the world that there is hope, there is help, right? For those that are broken.
And so,
And
Keisha, just
it's here.
reiterate that book is not just a read; it's also a workbook. It'll help
We
you
got,
work through some situations. So there's some questions in there. There are some
yeah,
prayers in there. There's a couple of things that'll help you at the end of every chapter to walk through some of your traumas and acknowledge
yeah,
what's going on with you and help you to answer some questions that you're afraid to answer. And afterwards we're gonna pray together. So I want to make
yeah.
sure that you walk through from being broken to whole. That's the whole objective of the book, is to help you acknowledge, identify, face, feel, and overcome those broken things in your life. And then we're gonna walk you all the way through the
Wow.
healing, and from healing to being whole. Okay.
Y'all,
So I wanna really wanna make sure that people understand. So let me say that, because we need to understand that healing is a process.
it's a
It's
process.
a
Come on,
process. So
ladies.
I don't want nobody to think that we just talking. Oh, you gonna wake up and you gonna be healed. Now, don't get me wrong. God is a miracle worker, honey, and I
He
believe He can do
is.
all things. I
Oh,
believe
yes,
that
he
He has
can.
the ability to do the impossible.
All
However,
things are
the
possible.
Bible says that faith without works is dead. Of being alone. So we have to make sure that we understand that you can wake up and want to be healed and believe God can, but there's some work that has to go along with your faith. And so we want to make sure we understand that while God is doing His thing, we need to do ours. And
That's
so I want to make sure those things are important. And that's why God has allowed us to put, these wonderful people called therapists on the planet. He put
yeah.
these wonderful places called Alcohol Anonymous and drug rehabs.
Yes.
He put them
Uh-huh.
there. He
That's right.
allowed people to open up these businesses because
Hmm.
things take work. And I'm an advocate for God, and I'm an advocate for therapy, because I listen, because we need it. Here,
That's right.
and
That's
one of the
right.
things they taught us in therapy is every therapist need a therapist. I got one. I go see her twice a month.
Well,
Okay,
bless the
every 2 weeks I see her. Every
Lord.
two
Good,
weeks,
good.
and because
Girl, I
we
live right
because
by
we're
one.
still trying to make sure that we're okay,
Yeah.
and so I want us to understand that at the end of the day, there's help available. I got to keep saying it, because somebody's broken and doesn't feel like their situation can be helped. Every situation can be helped. I don't want to leave a person hopeless, making them feel like, or help where they feel like maybe they're too far gone or too far down, or their situation is too bad that they can't be helped. God can do anything, and He will put people in your path. He will put things and resources in place for you to
Yes, he
reach
will.
for Him to give, for you to get every single solitary thing that you need. And I want you to understand that God would not have put this together if He did not want you to understand that there is help available for you. I
There
might not
is.
be the person, Keitra might not be the person, but there is somebody that God has assigned to your life. The Bible says one plant, one water, but He gives increase. So I don't know who you've encountered. I don't know what you have experienced, but please know and understand that there is nothing too hard for God, and that He will allow you to meet and do, or reach for a resource that will get you all of the help that you need. I don't care if it's addiction. I don't care if it's abuse. I don't care if it's a psychological schizophrenia. I don't care what it is. There's help available, because some of this stuff that these doctors are diagnosis, or that are diagnosing us is spiritual.
You
Okay,
better talk about
and
it.
so everything ain't because you're going crazy. Don't let everybody make you feel that way. Talk to somebody. Okay, everything that's going on ain't don't require medicine.
It surely
Okay,
don't. It just
it just
sometimes it
requires
just require a
yeah, a
conversation.
freedom. Sometimes it requires deliverance.
Yeah,
Sometimes it requires freedom. And sometimes it requires somebody to tell you that I've been through that and you can get through it too.
that's right. And one thing that I realized, that when I began to heal, when I began to voice, when I began to express, believe it or not, it brought me closer to that person. We gained some kind of rapport. We gained some kind of strength, a little bond there. And so, even though you're by yourself in those moments, listen to me, audience, even though you're by yourself in those moments, when these replays happen, or things happen, you are still not alone. You're
Hmm.
alone in those moments, but you're not by yourself. You have a body of people out here that have experienced, that have
Hmm.
gone through, that have overcome
Hmm.
certain dysfunctions, and we all are here. We're here, man, and it's a lot
Hmm.
of us. It's a lot of us with these hidden secrets. But once you reveal it, man,
Yeah.
you feel so free. You
Yeah.
feel there's a breaking, and you just feel like a bird, or you feel, girl, you feel like the running man, or like the road runner. You just want pew, me, me. I mean, you just want to take off.
Yeah.
We have some comments coming in, and they're
Okay.
saying, they are agreeing. And there's one viewer says that some men are still broken too. Now we
Absolutely.
yeah, we
Let me
know
let
our
me talk
men.
to that, Keitra.
Go ahead.
And that's the one of
We're
the
going to
things that I
address that.
love about this process called healing.
Yeah,
Brokenness doesn't have a gender.
it don't.
Brokenness does not. As a matter of fact, brokenness don't have a religion. Brokenness don't have a
A title.
nothing. It don't have none of that. And
It
that's
don't
one of the
have a
reasons
direction.
why God charged me to write this book, because even with being a preacher, it's quite common for preachers to cater to only people who are in church, right? However, Jesus came to save the lost. Okay,
Boom.
so the objective, so I tell people my goal
My
is
goal.
to, through God, heal the world one heart at a time.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
what my goal is.
I like that.
My goal is, through Christ, to heal the world one heart at a time.
At a time. I
Okay,
like.
and so I don't care if you are, or whatever you got going on.
Yeah.
Men, what's great about what I've learned. So I did this um panel, a help on
Okay.
broken panel, right? And I
Uh-huh.
had men on my panel.
Oh, beautiful.
And the men on my panel exposed stories about themselves that men wouldn't normally expose. Some
I
of them
love it.
experienced childhood abuse. Some of them were abandoned. Some of them lived in foster care and were was abused in foster care. And they were not ashamed to tell their stories. Okay,
Wow.
and in
See.
the end, it reached some men who, because what's challenging for men is that they have been reared not to show emotions, because it to some older men it's a sign of weakness, right?
Get out of my
um,
book.
and so I want us to understand that So in one of the chapters in my book, I believe it's Let's Deal with the Inner You. I talk about the steps to healing,
Okay.
and I want it doesn't matter, and especially men. One of the steps to healing is feeling it, facing
Uh-huh.
it, feeling it, right?
Uh-huh.
And it allows you to feel those emotions, experience what they are. How do they make you
Mm-hmm.
feel? What happened to put you in that place? And so men
Mm-hmm.
don't get an opportunity to do that very often because of the
They don't.
shame, or making them feel like they're weak. But the truth is they need help too.
They
They
need help
need
too.
help just like everybody else needs help. It's not
They
just
need
women
help
out
too.
here. And so I want, and while though I'm a woman, and I, most people say, well, you are more prone to reach more women because you're a woman. But I want people to understand that brokenness does not have a gender. And so I
It
like to
don't have
talk
an
to all
avenue.
kinds of audiences because I want the men to understand that they can be healed too. They have to
They
first be
can.
honest though. Watch this. One of the
Yes,
first
they
I
do.
tell I tell people all of the time, and this is both men and women, right? That the one of the first steps to deliverance is being honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first, because a lot of times we won't be honest and acknowledge. Very first chapter of my book. Are you okay?
Denial.
Yeah. Are you okay? First, you gotta say, I'm not okay. You gotta first admit that you are
Admit it.
not okay. In
Admit it.
order to be able to be healed, you gotta admit that you're not okay. You don't go to the doctor and then don't tell the doctor what's wrong.
Right. You just sitting there quiet. What kind of visitation is that?
You cannot pretend like everything is okay.
We got a
You gotta
comment that
be.
just came in.
Mhm.
You can't pretend that everything is okay, is what she said. But the comment says yes, that the truth sets you free,
Watch
and
this.
that's a two-way street. You
Watch
you
this
go
though.
go
Watch
go
this.
ahead, go on there, go ahead,
The,
go ahead.
the person said, watch this. The Bible says that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Make, keyword, make.
It shall make you free, not
Uh
just
huh.
set you free, but it
Not
will
just
make
said.
you free.
Okay, well, make. Keyword, people. Come,
It
thank you,
will
Miss
make you
Theodore
free.
White. Theo White.
Huh?
I had to tell my commenter thank you, because
Yeah,
that we,
thank
we
you.
need we need to emphasize that freedom.
Because watch this, that says to me that
Woo.
freedom, watch this,
Yes,
is attached to truth.
yes, it is. Keep going. Come
Freedom is
on.
attached to truth. So the
Yes, it
only way
is.
that you can be free is if you tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Quit lying. Steph
Also
ain't gonna
say,
say it like I'ma say it. Quit lying. Just come on, y'all. Quit lying
and
to
it what cause
yourself.
and then so it's not even just about people lying, but it's sometimes people are fearful of
Okay.
the truth, or even acknowledging the truth, or admitting the truth because of how it makes them feel. Some people have blocked out certain places in their mind, or blocked out pain intentionally.
Is that
They
better?
have deliberately blocked it out. And so they don't want to acknowledge it because now I got to relive what happened to me. So
Yeah.
not necessarily everybody's lying. Everybody, sometimes they're avoiding the truth.
Oh, we're avoiding the truth, are we?
Sometimes they're avoiding the truth because I don't who and I said it in my book, who wants to voluntarily be in pain?
Oh, girl, what page? I ain't. Did I read that? I think I did.
So sometimes it forces you to have to say, I really did get neglected.
Uh huh.
I really did. And somebody doesn't want to. I was watching. So let me tell you, I watched the movie Creed 3.
Did you, girl? I ain't even watched that movie yet.
It is a must watch.
With Michael B. Jordan in it.
Hmm.
My viewers know about me and Michael B. Jordan, but pay attention. Come on here.
So part of, and
Ain't
I'm not
like
gonna
that you
tell
watch
all
it
of this.
tonight.
I'm not gonna tell the whole movie because you haven't seen it. But there's an
Don't do it.
instance
Okay.
in the movie
Uh
where
huh.
that's what happened. He
Uh
kept
huh.
avoiding what happened in his past,
Oh, we see.
and it was triggering him
Triggers.
how he was happy, how he was behaving in that current moment.
Okay.
And every time he kept being asked, he kept saying, I don't want to talk about it.
Cedar.
And the more he kept saying, I don't want to talk about it, the worse it got.
Wow.
And so I said that because sometimes we're trying to figure out why things are not turning for us, why things are not getting better. You got to deal with the skeleton in the closet. You got to figure out that thing that you keep tucking away and not facing and not dealing with
Yep.
because it's triggering your behavior.
Oh, I think
It
the
is
commenter,
contributing.
the comment that came in earlier was saying yes to triggers because that's so
Absolutely.
true. He said it before we even said it.
Absolutely.
So there's
Because
truth to it,
there are certain things that you're trying to figure out, why does this keep
Mr.
happening?
White.
Why don't it let's take it to something more common. Why can't I budget my money right?
Wow.
What, why I ain't got no money? Well, you ain't never been taught how to budget.
Uh oh.
Why is it that I don't know how to hold a decent conversation? Well, because somebody never taught you how to properly communicate.
Wow. Well, you know what, Daphne, I this is what I want to do because we got a few minutes left, and so at this moment we're just going to pause on what it is that we're talking about because we're talking about brokenness. And the title of Daphne Norman's book is Help, I'm Broken. And so thank you all for tuning in. And we're almost done here at 9 o'clock tonight. But before we end this show, before we get up from the table, okay, I want to invite some comments. If you got questions, if there are questions at this moment, if there's still some comments that you guys want to go ahead and throw at us, please be ye not afraid. You can say what it is that you want to say, and or you can call in. You can call into the network and whatever it is that you guys want to express on tonight. Listen, we are open. We have all ears to open to hear what it is that you want to say on tonight. So go ahead at any moment while we're talking before the show ends. You are free to express your thoughts. You are free to express your questions on any level whatsoever. The number that you can call into the studio, it would be, if I'm right, it's 832-391-0157. Yes, 832-391-0157. And that's the number that you can call
I'm gonna post
if
it
you
on the
want to call
comments.
into the studio.
I'm gonna post it in the comments.
Okay, good deal, good deal. Okay, there is a commenter. She says that's true because broken is being in pieces from a whole. And I feel like the only thing that can mend pieces together is God, His power, and deliverance. And it's also true, we must acknowledge the truth first. So we got some viewers tonight, and I'm excited that y'all are here. I'm glad that y'all are here. I'm glad that you're staying tuned in to know that there's truth in what it is that we're saying. Nobody's disagreeing. We're all in this thing together. We're all trying to be whole. And I'm excited for this show because we get to sit around the table and talk about anything we want to talk about. Okay? It's an open table. Just like we being served and you can order your menu for whatever's being presented. Come on, we can sit at this table and we can eat, and we can eat real good. Okay? And the reason for the show is for us to talk about these different topics, Daphne, if you will, so that we can leave with a hope, that we
Absolutely.
can leave with a help. Because okay, we have a comment. The comment reads, people out here are trying to love but are broken. Is it possible, Daphne, to love broken?
So the truth is, you can love broken, but you can't love properly broken. You can only love. So let me give you an example. You love according to how you know, according to what you know that love is, right? So
It's
if
good.
a person only knows abuse is love, that's what they'll give as love, right? If a
Ooh.
person only knows how to be mean as love. So we did a Bible study on love languages, right? And
Okay.
I learned what
Ooh,
mine
I
are.
like those.
And so
Okay.
I remember when I was when I had come home back home after my divorce.
Uh-huh.
I started to question God about why I accepted things that I had accepted.
Yeah.
Well, and God said to me clear as day, it's because that's what you identified as love. And so I was like, God,
Mm.
what are you talking about? Well, growing up, I experienced a lot of verbal and emotional abuse, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Wow.
but watch this. It was also coupled with gifts. So
Are
while I
you
knew,
serious?
so while I knew that the person loved me, even though they said so, so they would buy me things all the time because
Right.
they love me,
Okay.
right? And so
Yeah.
I can talk about it. So my father was a verbally abusive growing up, and
Uh-huh.
so but I knew my daddy loved me. He gave me
Yeah.
whatever I wanted. He loved me because I'm his baby girl, but he was
Yeah.
still verbally abusive,
Oh wow.
right? So so
Wow.
that's what I understood.
That's
So when
right.
when I got into relationships and
Uh-oh.
men bought me gifts, but they were still verbally abusive, I didn't equate the verbal abuse to abuse. I didn't know that somebody had to tell me, Daphne, that's abuse.
Wow.
I didn't know it because it was coupled with what I thought love was. When they buy you
Yeah.
stuff and they hug on you and they show you, affection, but they still treat you bad.
Wow, man.
And so all my life growing up and being in relationships, I accepted that stuff thinking so that's why people who are abused stay in abusive relationships because that's what they think love is.
Well, Daphne, how did you heal from that though? Once you acknowledged what was happening, they told you that. What did you do to take the necessary steps for healing?
Well, first of all, I,
Help
I
us.
finally I finally admitted that I didn't like how it made me feel.
Okay.
When I decided I didn't like the person that I had become, I stopped accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually what attributed to starting the lines of my marriage failing because I started to speak up. Stop talking to
Ah.
me like that. I don't like
Uh-huh.
how that makes me feel. Well,
Y'all
with that
hear that?
first, I was afraid to say something. You know why? Because I was afraid to lose my husband.
Wow.
So I kept taking it and taking it. And a lot of times what happens is we keep taking stuff because we're afraid we're going to lose something because and so we live our lives for other people and we let them treat us any
Ooh.
kind of way and we let them say
Ooh.
anything they want to say and do whatever they want to do, but we're not
Ooh.
honest that we don't like it.
What? Oh, what is? I hope this is it. Y'all give me some likes and some shares if y'all. I mean, if this is helping y'all, give me some feedback. If I could like everything, I probably would just been hitting that button. This is so key. It's so. Oh, it's so
So the
profound.
answer is yes, you can love broken, but you can't love properly. And then the person who's on the receiving end, if they are adjusted to being loved a certain type of way and they identify that, it's not gonna work out.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
it is important. That's why it's so important not to jump from relationship to relationship. You gotta heal completely. You gotta heal because you'll drag that stuff, think and try to make somebody else take that responsibility. It is not. Listen to me. If y'all don't remember nothing I say tonight, it is nobody, absolutely nobody's responsibility to heal you. Nobody's. Nobody is responsible to heal you.
But
It
you.
is your responsibility to get healed.
That's right.
You cannot get into a relationship and drag baggage and drag all of this stuff and tell and make somebody unpack that
That's right.
and deal
Unpack
with that.
your stuff.
They
Come
ain't got to
on.
deal with it. That's their choice if they do, but they don't have to.
Are these the final words that you want to leave?
If I could choose final words, my final words would be get help. Get help. Because first identify that you're broken.
First, identify that you're broken.
Secondly, Make sure that you're honest about what you're
Make sure
broken
you're
from.
honest about what you're broken from.
Then go get some help about it.
Go get some help about it.
Okay? I want the people who are watching to know that you are not beyond help.
Do y'all hear this?
You are not beyond help. There is no situation that is too challenging that you cannot get help for. You can be free. You can have a joyous and happy life, but do it unbroken.
I love it. Is that it?
Yeah. I can say a whole
Wow.
lot more, but I'm going to stop because we're out of time.
We are out of time. We are out of time, sure enough. But before, because we got a few more minutes. I I can't say excuse me for my excitement. I can't say excuse me for my happiness because I'm happy to know that we have answers now. There are some people on this earth. There are people out here that have answers. And this is the place that you can come to sit on the table, sit around the table, to talk about it, to listen about it, inbox us, mail us. And Daphne, if you would please go ahead and give the information of where the selling of your books are, your speaking engagements. How can we get in contact with you? Please let us know. Please let my audience.
So you can reach me on Facebook, Daphne Norman, on Instagram at God's Favor 33. I got all my Facebook pages are Help Unbroken, Daphne Norman, DA Norman Ministries. Same thing on Instagram. You can also follow, please go to my YouTube page, Daphne Norman, and click subscribe. Okay? That's
Click
important.
subscribe.
The books
So
can be reached and found on my website, www.danormanministries.com, or you can buy it on Amazon. Do three things for me: go to YouTube, click subscribe, go to my website, join my mailing list, and number three, buy the book.
yeah, I know that's right. Body back. Okay. All right. Listen, you guys have been sitting around this table. We have been talking with women around the table. Talk tonight with Daphne Norman, my friend, my guest, my jazz A singing competition. We was number one winners, y'all, and we
Absolutely.
still winning. We are still winning, but we doing it the right way. And we hope we want to bring Daphne in the future because you got to be a part of this family, sis.
Yeah.
I can't do this by myself, girl.
I got
You know,
you.
I can't do it by myself. You understand what I'm saying? And so I got to just, let my personality come out a little bit because I'm excited for those that have tuned in tonight for Women Around the Table Talk. I hope that this has helped us in some way acknowledge that we may be walking around here broken, but I don't know about y'all. But I want to be fixed for mine. I want to be fixed for my friend, for my children, for my church, for my homies. You understand what I'm saying? I want to be fixed for my man.
For
You
yourself.
understand?
Be
For my
fixed for yourself.
fix for myself. So I thank God for this opportunity. I really, 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 really do. And He has given us answers. Just like there are problems, there are answers. Thank you all for tuning in to Women Around the Table Talk Show. Okay, we'll see you back next time. I have a surprise for y'all. Don't put no limits on me because it ain't no telling what I'm gonna come out with around this table. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, thank you, Daphne Norman. We thank you so much for coming and being our guest tonight.
Thank
We
you
love
to
you.
the network and Keitra and everybody for allowing me to come on. I enjoyed myself. Thank you.
You did. Thank you, girl. Thank you. Oh, we need more time. Okay, bye, y'all. See y'all soon. Until next time, join us on Women Around the Table Talk with Miss Kiki White.
Kiki White and EFI Networks, thank you for watching the Women Around Table Talk. We hope that you have enjoyed. We would like to thank all of our special guests. Kiki White and EFI Networks look forward to you joining the Women Around the Table Talk every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Kiki White look forward to hearing from you. Please go to EFInetwork.com for comments. You may call 832-408-8404-346 493 2630 or 832 391 0157. All copyrights belong to EFI Networks.